Hey everybody, welcome to another Author Marketing Live speaker profile preview. And today we've got Derek Murphy, who is one of the best book cover designers on the web today, joining us from, where are you joining us from today, Derek?
Taiwan right now.
Taiwan. Look at the power of the internet. We have a live interview with Derek from Taiwan. So, Derek, thank you for being here, and especially thank you for agreeing to speak at Author Marketing Live in Cleveland. That's a long way from Taiwan to Cleveland to come speak about book cover design.
It is a long way, but I'm from Oregon originally, so I'm actually going home for the summer. So it
Okay.
won't be too far.
Okay, well, that's great to hear. I mean, I'm very excited to have you out here. And you are one of the premier book designers, cover designers on the internet today. Talk a little bit about some of the covers that you've done for people that maybe we may have known some of the authors that are out there. I know Joanna Penn is one of the big ones you've done for, right?
hmm Joanna Penzance, she has a bigger profile than most of my authors. I work mostly with indie and self-publishing authors, so it's hard to know at first how big the book is going to be because you don't really know if it's going to be successful when you're designing the cover.
Right.
And then I've been surprised. Some of my authors, I'll check back on their books maybe a year later and I'll find it's doing really well, has hundreds of reviews. So that's kind of exciting. I think that's why it's been so easy to grow my business. Is just when you make book covers, it's like kind of you have a free advert all the time. And anybody who buys that book is going to look at the cover and they'll check who designed it. And so I don't really have to do any marketing, which has been
Yeah.
nice.
Well, you do great covers. They're really amazing. Your website is DIYbookcovers.com. That's one of your websites. And then you have another website as well, which is?
Yeah, my main blog is Creativity, which is like creativity and independent. So I have a couple sites on that kind of blog network. Um, because I'm just one guy and there's so many authors who need book cover design, I can't handle very much. So my
Right.
prices have to keep going up, which is kind of too bad. But so I made the DIY covers because I think there should be a really good, cheap book cover solution, and there isn't right now.
Well, so yeah, I mean, I always like to tell authors, there's a couple ways you could go about this. You can spend a lot of money for a really professional cover, and if you can afford it. But a lot of authors can't afford to spend that right amount of money, and you have two solutions. So DIY covers is more of one where it allows them to create their covers on their own, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So this
Yeah,
is good.
I was gonna say, right now I'm looking for, there should be like an online cover creating software type of thing. There isn't a good one, in part I think because like CreateSpace and Lulu, they have their own, but they really want you to buy their nice cover design services. So they're not gonna put too much effort into developing a really nice do-it-yourself kind of free tool. So I'm trying to build one, but we'll see how that goes.
So let's talk about cover design here. You have a great post out called "8 Cover Design Secrets Publishers Use to Manipulate Readers into Buying Books." What a great title. And you've got a couple tips here. And number one, you've got make it pop. A lot of authors ask for covers that pop, and many designers have no idea what this means, but I've narrowed it down to contrast. Can you talk a little bit about what you mean there?
hmm Usually when they say pop, they just mean it has to grab your eye, it has to stand out, but they don't really know what that means. Usually it's just a strong contrast between light and dark. So you have something with really heavy shadows and then a very light, bright kind of center text or figure or something. It's just the way it'll focus our eyes on the cover and kind of see the depth of the light and dark contrast. But then also something professional movie posters always do. If you go to the theater and look at any poster, most of them are orange and teal. It's kind of a gradient with like greenish teal and then orange. It's because those, anytime you use opposite colors on the color wheel, it creates this kind of really natural vibrancy, and that's kind of the pop effect. So if you can, it works well like red and black and white work together, but red doesn't go with green very well. So orange and teal is really the best opposites without looking too strange.
In this blog post, you have a great example of the cover of Disney's Pixar Brave, where it's kind of like the teal and the dark colors, and she's got that really flying orange hair, and that's just a
Mhm.
great example of the contrast that you show there. The next thing you talk about is having lots of space. You say a lot of book covers are too busy. Many of mine certainly are, partly due to because my design style. But even if there are a lot of elements, the background should be blended together smoothly. And you talk about using a color wash. Can you explain that?
Yeah, what a lot of indie authors do if they're making their own cover, they just put all the pieces together and they focus on the details. So they want the elements that are in the book to be on the cover. And that usually doesn't work.
Right.
Um, the details that are in the book, nobody's going to know they don't match up with the cover until after they've bought your book. So you
Right.
shouldn't be worried about pleasing those readers who buy your book. You need to be worried about the readers who might not buy your book if they don't like the cover. So the way the cover looks kind of as an art piece is more important than whether it perfectly syncs up with your own vision of what's in the book. A color wash is just, with Photoshop you can add layers. So maybe you put all the pieces on and then you put a layer of blue over the top or a gradient like the teal to orange over the top so that all the colors are kind of blended together. There's kind of a layer in front of everything and it just makes everything look more cohesive.
Can you kind of talk about what you just kind of mentioned there for a second, which is do authors get somehow caught up into being in love with what they think is a great cover as opposed to what the marketplace thinks is a great cover? Do you see that happen? I mean, I've done it in the past. I say I think that's great, but probably it's not the best design or elements for my target market, right?
Yeah, it's tough. Almost always, authors will go with the one that they like the most, and it's not really the one that'll sell the most. Um, and they get distracted by the cover. I've seen authors, they might spend 6 months, they're really obsessed about getting the cover just right, so they're not launching their book, they're not building their platform, they're just worrying about, is this really the right cover? Um, and a lot of it, like the cover has to be good enough to sell the book, but what's actually on the cover, I mean, there's a lot of options. You could have a lot of different ways to make the same cover. As long as it's past a certain point, it'll sell the book fine. So worrying too much about like which variation you go with doesn't matter that much. A lot of authors, nonfiction authors, they're a little better about this because they approach it as a business. Um, Fiction authors, they they will choose the one they like the best.
Right.
And even if I tell them maybe like you really should get feedback, you should post these on Facebook. This one I'm sure will sell twice as many as the other one. A lot of authors won't listen.
Yeah, and that's part of people. I talk with a lot of other authors who are coming to speak, and they say, like Jay Thorne, who's coming to speak at the show, he calls his work art, right? And some of these people view what they're writing as art, and they get so caught up in their art and what they're trying to do, they kind of forget that this is a business piece of this. You know, when you are going to put something on a shelf in a grocery store or in Walmart or Best Buy, the packaging is extremely important, and I would argue the most important thing besides the title of your book as people browse through Barnes and Noble and Amazon listings online. It's gotta just hit the mark right away, right?
And I think authors, they'll view their cover as kind of part of their art, part of their package. Like the writing is part of the cover, and that's not really true. If you're an author, the writing is the most important. But you need to get people into the writing. They have to get the book and start reading it before they'll know if they like it or not, before your book has any kind of chance of success. The cover is really it's just the packaging. And I think a lot of authors, if I push them to admit to the number one goal, if I say, what's the most important, what do you want to see, what are the results you're after, of course it'll be book sales, people like the book, people review the book. The cover doesn't matter to those goals. It shouldn't be their primary concern. I mean, it's very important. It has to be really good, but it's not a part of their art. It's not a part of their writing. It's just kind of a gateway.
Right. So this is a great article. I'm going to share this with everybody who's watching this video. You should go look at all the 8 points on here that he talks about in terms of cover design. And these are a lot of the things you're going to be covering at Author Marketing Live as well, right? I mean, the whole session is really about for an author discovering what are the big things that you can do to create a cover that is really going to hit and pop and resonate with your target audience, and you're going to be providing those tips, right?
Yeah, last year I actually volunteered. I offered free makeovers for a lot of authors because I basically said, if you let me do you a new cover, I can probably double your sales. So I have at least maybe 10 case studies where I can show like the before and after, and this is how much the sales increased after they changed the cover.
Wow.
Um, and especially like it's one thing if you start with a really ugly cover and you make a really nice one, but you can start with an okay, not bad cover and make it a little better, and you'll still sell a lot more books.
Give me an example
So
of those. Maybe you have some numbers in your head, just guesses. I mean, give me an example of somebody you did a remake of a cover for, and it helped sales in some way. I mean, you don't have to mention their name, but I'm just kind of, did it help them sell 10 more books? Did it help them sell 100 more books? I mean, anything like that you can give us?
yeah, it's usually if the book is already selling okay, like it's doing fine, they're not really worried about it. Maybe it sells 100 a month. They can probably double their sales pretty easily. But
Wow.
like one of my authors, he has a series of books, so he has like 8 books, and this was his one free giveaway book, which is really crucial because that's the lead into everything else. So once I had him make over that one freebie, and so the sales picked up of all of his other books, just because then people would start getting into his writing, and for the other covers, they're already fans. They already like his writing, so the cover's not that important. But for that one freebie, the first, attracting the first readers, the cover is the most important thing.
Yeah. This is going to be great. I can't wait to have you come out to Cleveland for Author Marketing Live. We do have a special bonus that you have offered to give to people. We're going to list all the prizes and the bonuses for people soon, but you're giving away an almost $800 package for a custom designed book cover, and one person at the show is going to win that. Is that right?
Right?
Yeah.
Full print cover, ebook cover, some marketing extras.
That's going to be amazing. So think about that. If you come to Cleveland this summer, you're going to have the opportunity not only to meet with Derek, we have a networking event planned. You're going to be able to get some more tips from him, learn from his session. But one person actually is going to get an $800 value, custom design from Derek Murphy. And he just told you sometimes, and probably in most cases, I would assume, having a book cover redone for you, even if it's a great cover, can dramatically increase your sales. And that's exactly why we're having Derek come out and speak, because this is one of those things in terms of the whole equation of all the things you have to do in book marketing, from the sales writing for your description to your titling to your editing. It's one of the most important pieces in regards to selling more books, and that's what this show is all about. So, Derek, thank you again. Is there any final advice or tip you could give to an author right now who maybe doesn't have the money to design a new cover, or maybe designed it themselves? Can you give them a little inspiration or an idea on how they can immediately improve their book cover?
Yeah, I think an author's worst enemy is a blank canvas. Don't try to be an artist. This isn't a place to take a lot of liberties and freedom and express yourself. Look for best-selling covers in the genre that you're publishing in, like your competition, and collect a few of those. Look at the fonts they use, look at the images that they use, and you could hire a designer on Fiverr.com. You
Right.
can find your own images. You can get something made for $5 or $10, which looks pretty good. But get help. Don't do it all yourself.
Yeah. Or go to DIYbookcovers.com. Or do,
Yeah, at DIY Book Covers, there's a free package that has a lot of sample templates and instructions on how to make a cover. It's making a cover in Microsoft Word, which is why I made it, because a lot of people don't have Photoshop or some photo editing software. So it's not perfect, but to be able to make a cover in Microsoft Word is a pretty good opportunity.
So this is going to be great. I really can't wait to meet you in person in Cleveland. Everyone, grab a seat to authormarketinglive.com before it's gone, because you're going to have a chance to meet Derek in person and also have a chance to win this custom designed book cover package. So check out DIYbookcovers.com, right? Did I get
Mm-hmm.
that right? DIY
Yep.
book covers, and also creativeindie.com. And you can also follow Derek on Twitter at creativeindie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
Yep.
Derek, thank you so much for dialing in from Taiwan. Have a safe travel out there, and we'll see you in Cleveland this summer. So excited to meet you.
Yeah, you do. See you
All
later.
right. Thanks very much. Listen, everybody, head on over to authormarketinglive.com, where you're going to be able to learn more about Derek and the book covers and the creative services that he provides. And remember, get on board, grab your seat before they're gone. There are only 150 tickets. Okay. So once they're sold, they're sold. You can't add more room. There's no extra room we're going to be able to add. And you're going to want to come and meet with people like Derek and have a chance to winning this prize package, because having a book cover that really pops and that really resonates with your audience could be the difference between making 100 sales and 10,000 sales. And
Mm-hmm.
Derek will tell you that in person and show you exactly how people have done it, and he's done it for his clients. So, all right, everybody, thanks very much for watching. Visit authormarketinglive.com. Grab your seat today before they're all gone. Have a great day, and thanks again, Derek.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.